They say avoidants don't feel the same depth of pain after losing someone, that they simply detach, move on, and never look back. But that's only what the surface shows. Underneath that calm exterior lies a storm they'll never admit to anyone, not even themselves. When an avoidant loses the right person, the one who truly saw through their walls, accepted their distance, and still chose to love them, something inside them quietly breaks. At first they convince themselves it's nothing. They bury the ache under silence, distractions, and self-control. They tell themselves they needed space, that intimacy felt suffocating, that you wanted too much. But deep down, a haunting question begins to echo in their mind. What if that was love? What if I just pushed away the one person who would have stayed? Avoidants don't process pain like others do. They suppress it, deny it, intellectualize it. They'll scroll through memories like old photographs, feeling the sting of what they can't undo. The more they try to numb it, the louder it grows. Late at night, the silence feels heavier. The absence of your messages, your patience, your presence, it all becomes unbearable. But they won't chase. They can't. Admitting regret means facing their deepest fear, vulnerability. So instead, they suffer quietly, pretending they've moved on while secretly replaying every moment they took for granted. This video takes you deep inside that emotional maze, the hidden pain of avoidance after losing the right person. You'll see what they never say, feel what they try to hide, and understand why losing you might be the moment that finally awakens their heart. When an avoidant loses the right person, their reaction often confuses everyone, even themselves. They don't cry, they don't reach out, and they don't seem shaken. To the outside world, they appear calm, composed, even indifferent. But this calm is an illusion, a defense mechanism built to survive emotional chaos. Inside, their system goes into shutdown mode. Instead of feeling the loss, they disconnect from it. Their mind tells them they're fine, but their body betrays them. Sleepless nights, restlessness, sudden waves of emptiness that hit without warning. They scroll through old messages not to reconnect, but to confirm the reality that it's over. This emotional numbness isn't strength, it's survival. They've spent years mastering the art of self-protection, suppressing pain before it ever reaches the surface. But when the silence stretches and the absence grows louder, the calm starts to crack. That's when the truth seeps in. They didn't escape the pain, they just delayed it. And when it finally hits, it's not gentle. It's the kind of ache that reminds them how deeply they cared, even when they swore they didn't. Avoidants are masters at wearing masks, especially the one called indifference. When they lose someone who truly mattered, they don't chase, they don't confess, and they certainly don't show heartbreak. Instead, they build a calm facade, so convincing that even close friends believe they've moved on. But behind that emotional armor lies a quiet storm they refuse to face. Their "I'm fine" attitude isn't confidence, it's fear. Fear of appearing weak, fear of needing someone again, fear of admitting they cared more than they should have. So they hide behind logic, convincing themselves that distance equals control. They'll post photos, dive into work, or distract themselves with surface-level interactions. Anything to prove to themselves that they're unaffected. Yet the truth slips out in subtle ways. A song that suddenly feels heavier, a memory that lingers too long, a name that still triggers silence. The mask never really fits, it just keeps their heart from being seen. Deep down, they're not indifferent, they're terrified, because the moment they admit they feel something, the illusion of control shatters. And for an avoidant, that's the scariest truth of all. When the noise fades and the distractions lose their power, that's when the flashbacks begin. Avoidants don't chase memories, memories chase them. A familiar scent, a song, a random phrase. Suddenly they're back in a moment they thought they'd buried. It's not nostalgia, it's realization. The quiet kind of regret that creeps in when they finally understand what they've lost. They remember the small things first, your laughter, your patience, the way you understood their silence without demanding words. At the time, they mistook your calm for weakness, your love for pressure. Now those same moments replay like soft echoes that don't fade. But avoidants never speak about it. They won't tell anyone how much it hurts to see you moving on, how they check your profile in secret, or how they rewrite memories in their mind, wishing they'd responded differently. Their pride won't allow them to admit the truth, that they're haunted not by your absence, but by their choices. Regret doesn't scream in their world, it whispers. It follows them quietly, showing up in the spaces where your presence used to be. And no matter how much time passes, That echo never truly leaves. Missing you isn't the problem. Admitting it is. For an avoidant, reaching out means stepping into the very space they've spent their whole life avoiding. Vulnerability. They may think of you every day, replaying conversations, wondering what you're doing, even typing messages they'll never send. But when it comes to pressing send, something in them freezes. That moment of hesitation isn't lack of care, it's fear disguised as control. Avoidants crave connection just like everyone else, but the thought of being rejected, misunderstood, or emotionally exposed feels unbearable. Deep down, they associate closeness with danger, so instead of saying "I miss you," they say nothing. Instead of apologizing, they disappear. They convince themselves that silence is safer than the risk of being hurt again. They'll wait for signs, a story you post, a memory you share, anything that gives them permission to reach out without losing power. But as time passes and those signs don't come, the distance grows heavier. Their heart pulls forward, but their fear pulls back harder. In truth, they do miss you, deeply, painfully, constantly. They think about the warmth of your voice, the calm of your presence, the comfort of being seen without having to explain. But avoidants have built their identity on emotional self-reliance, and reaching out feels like surrendering that armor. So they sit in silence, longing for you, but unable to face what that longing reveals. They might scroll through your photos, rehearse the words they'll never say, and then quietly lock their phone again. Because for them, missing you in silence still feels safer than risking connection again. It's not that they don't care. It's that caring out loud terrifies them more than loneliness ever could. Every avoidant reaches a moment they can't escape, the turning point. It doesn't happen in a dramatic scene or during a late-night breakdown. It happens quietly, in the stillness of an ordinary day. Maybe they pass a place you once went together, or hear your name in a casual conversation. Suddenly, the calm they've worked so hard to maintain shatters. They realize the silence isn't peaceful anymore, it's empty. At first, they fight it. They tell themselves they did the right thing, that independence is better than attachment, that they're fine without you. But the more they try to rationalize it, the heavier it feels. That's when the truth sinks in. They didn't just lose a person, they lost their emotional safe space. The one who understood their distance, who loved them despite their walls, who stayed gentle when they pushed away. The realization doesn't come as guilt, it comes as grief. They start to see how rare your presence was, how unconditional your patience felt. They finally understand that love wasn't the threat, it was the healing they weren't ready to receive. And by the time this truth reaches their heart, it's often too late. You've begun to heal, to rebuild, to rediscover yourself outside their shadow. They scroll through old photos, wondering how someone who once felt like home became just a memory. That's the quiet punishment of an avoidant. Not your anger, not your distance, but your peace. Because in that peace, they see everything they ran from: love, safety, vulnerability, and realize it was never the danger. It was the gift they weren't brave enough to hold. Healing after an avoidant is not about forgetting them. It's about remembering yourself. You spent so long trying to decode their silence, to earn the affection they guarded like a secret. But peace begins the moment you stop chasing answers from someone who was never ready to give them. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you release the hope that they'll finally become who you needed them to be. You realize their inability to love deeply was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their fear. They ran from closeness because they couldn't face what real love demanded: presence, honesty, and vulnerability. As you begin to heal, the memories start to lose their sting. What once hurt now feels like a lesson. You stop checking your phone, stop waiting for their return, and start returning to yourself. Slowly, the pain turns into clarity. You didn't lose them, they lost you. Because true peace isn't found in their apology, it's found in your acceptance. And when you finally walk away without bitterness, you don't just move on, you rise above. Walking away from an avoidant isn't weakness, it's courage. For so long you invested your love, energy, and patience into someone who couldn't meet you halfway. You begged for presence, consistency, and honesty, only to be met with silence, withdrawal, or fleeting affection. Choosing to leave isn't giving up, it's reclaiming your power and protecting your heart. The real strength lies in recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for emotional scarcity. When you walk away, you stop waiting for someone who may never truly show up. You stop bending yourself to fit into their world and start creating a life that honors your needs, your feelings, and your growth. It's in this choice that healing begins. The heartbreak doesn't vanish overnight, but the clarity it brings is priceless. You see the patterns for what they were, not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a mirror of their limitations. Walking away allows you to step into freedom, into self-respect, and into the possibility of love that doesn't demand sacrifice of your soul. And while they may silently regret what they lost, you move forward with the unshakable knowledge that you chose yourself first, and that is a power no avoidant can take away.